I'll ask you again the three things that I thought were improper in the conduct of the search, or in the enforcement of the search warrant. Like one, having face coverings or a bonnet. Is that proper, sir? While enforcing a search warrant? Anyway, so it's that number of years and these police officers are still actively in the service because the administrative case has not yet been resolved up to now. Is that correct, Colonel Leonardo?
I think some of them are no longer in the service.
Yung iba lang mga kasama ang nag-appeal,
Was
Your
his
Honor.
sentence served?
I suppose so, Your Honor. It's supposed to have been served by this time.
Suspension. How about Mayor Laraga?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I was demoted, Mr. Chair.
So from an administrative point of view, Attorney Bernardo, there are no more cases that could be filed against the police officers who enforced the search warrant.
Your Honor, the respondent in fact appealed to the National Appellate Board. And in one occasion, we discussed the merit of the case. It was at that opportunity, with due respect, I met the commissioner at that time. Commissioner Leonardo at that time opted to acquit all of the respondents. But I hasten to add that if that's the most thing that they could have done during their time, how then could it be possible at this time now that they could be acquitted for all of these offenses? And therefore, we met again, and the other two commissioners are now inclined to reconsider, and they would render a different resolution or determination of the appeal cases. It's forthcoming. We are seeking also additional substantiation from the NBI to see whether we could rely from the SOCO report or from the medical legal, from the forensic pathologies, what may have been the cause of death. Is it actually an exchange of gunfire, or was he killed within the cell, in cell number 1 and in cell number 2 for Raul Yap, for that matter?
Thank you, Attorney Bernardo. Colonel Leonardo, sir, Commissioner Leonardo, I'll ask you again the three things that I thought were improper in the conduct of the search, or in the enforcement of the search warrant. Like one, having face coverings or a bonnet. Is that proper, sir? While enforcing a search warrant?
During my when I conduct implementation of search warrant, I never.
Can you answer closer to the mic, sir, so we can hear you?
I never do that during my conduct of.
I'm asking you, sir, from the standard procedures of police officers, sir. Is it proper for police officers to use face coverings in enforcing a search warrant? Yes or no?
I think no, Mr. Chair. For me, no.
So it's not proper. Two, is it proper for police officers to disable the CCTV system in enforcing a search warrant? Yes or no?
No, Mr. Chair.
Three, what was the third one I asked kanina? Was disarming the jail guards and the police officers who augmented the security in the area proper in enforcing the search warrant that was issued by the judge?
It depends on the situation, Mr. Chair. If they pose a threat to the implementing,
Then they could be disarmed.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Chair.
depending on the situation. But on the first two, you said that it was improper.
For me, it was
Yes,
improper,
for you.
Mr. Chair.
Now, if these two were improper, out of the three that I mentioned, why did you move for the acquittal of these police officers? Did you not
Actually-
find it? You just mentioned that it was improper. Did you not find it that they should be held administratively liable for violating the procedures in enforcing a search warrant?
Mr. Chair, just to correct the manifestation of Vice Chair Bernardo, I never intended to acquit everybody. Actually, the motion for Laraga and Duarte and others are meted 5 months, 6 months, something like.
6 months of what, sir?
No. 6 months, Mr. Chair.
Of
And
what?
there are some who were acquitted, recommended acquitted, but that was just a recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Just a recommendation. But you think that they should be administratively, at least administratively held liable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. And this is after how many years from the time of the incident that took place? How many years?
I think that was 8 years. 8 years already, Mr. Chair.
8 years.
From 2016 to up to present, Mr. Chair.
So, 6 years actually. 6 years. No? 2018?
20,
Yeah, anyway. So it's
2018 now.
that number of years and these police officers are still actively in the service because the administrative case has not yet been resolved up to now. Is that correct, Colonel Leonardo?
I think some of them are no longer in the service, Mr. Chair.
Was it as a result of this administrative case or for some other reasons?
I'm not sure, Mr. Chair. Some because of this case, Mr. Chair.
But I thought that case was still pending before the Napolcom.
The
Attorney
appeal,
Bernardo.
Yes, Your Honor. It is still pending in the National Appellate Board. I could not make a decision alone because these are collegial. We are 4 of us, and at that time, we are not in the same opinion with Commissioner Leonardo. While the 2 others are still trying to decide whether they would side with me or side with Commissioner Leonardo. And it might strike a good decision when I'm seeking the records of the NBI to substantiate the fact that the cause of death was not at all through exchange of fire, but rather, if I would follow the medical legal, it might have been a murder case or at the very least, a homicide. And they are not supposed to be simply demoted, Your Honor.
Should the administrative case be faster, Attorney Bernardo?
Yes, it should have been, but in as much as the decision, I was then alone because the other commissioners are still trying to evaluate the case. I was just alone in pushing for an early resolution.
The point that I'm raising, Attorney Bernardo, is the fact that if these people are still in the active service of the PNP, then they could still be performing acts which are illegal or improper and not in accordance with PNP policies. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
That's why there's a need to hasten the proceedings siguro, sir. Di ba?
Yes, pinakiusapan ko nga, Your Honor, yung 2 pang commissioner na they are now siding with me at this time, considering the fact that time has lapsed and justice delayed is justice denied for the victims. And I am asking the NBI for an additional evidence to bolster my recommendation that there's supposed to be a rendition of judgment and to reverse simply a demotion. It should have been more severe penalties to be imposed.
Are they now siding with you only after Colonel Leonardo resigned as commissioner from the Mapolcom?
I would ask them, Your Honor, but
But was the decision to change their minds recent?
it's quite recent, Your
Quite
Honor.
recent.
Quite recent, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you, Congressman Flores. Congressman Acop?
in relation to the issues raised by the Honorable Flores, Napolcom, na-charge din po ba si Colonel Marcos?
Na-charge, Your Honor, pero hindi ho nag-appeal eh. I think suspension lang ata ang sa kanya eh. Kaya hindi na po siya nag-appeal eh. Yung iba lang mga kasama ang nag-appeal,
Was
Your
his
Honor.
sentence served?
I suppose so, Your Honor. It's supposed to have been served by this time.
Suspension. How about Mayor Laraga?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I was demoted, Mr. Chair.
You were demoted.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Samantalang si Colonel Marcos na-promote. Di ba doon sumasama ang loob mo?
No, not necessarily, Mr. Chair.
Not necessarily.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Pero alam ko, sumama ang loob mo eh. Di ba? Dahil ikaw, na-demote siya, na-promote. If you look at the orders of Colonel Marcos, it was through the orders of the President, former President, signed by the Secretary of the Interior and Local Government, as attested by DPRM, if you look at his orders. Di ba? Kaya alam ko, masama yung loob mo dahil hindi ka na ganun eh. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Ako.
Chairman.
Now, yes,
Just,
Congressman Paduano.
I consulted the COMSEC, and as far as I remember, during the previous hearing, we invite the deponent, no? And now Major Laraga is here. Major, sino nga yung deponent nyo?
Mr. Paul Olendan, Mr. Chair.
Ito,
Is he here?
case to ni, ni Mayor Espinosa.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Magkaiba pa yung sa case ni Alvarez.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Now, in the case of Mayor Espinosa, sinong deponent?
Mr. Paul Olendan, Mr. Chair.
Anong background niya? Why he was chosen as a deponent?
He was a previous PDL, Mr. Chair.
Previous PDL.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Kaya nga sabi kanina na Polcom na yung comment yung ni Justice, well, in fact, walang direct knowledge yung deponent mo. Kasi dating nakakulong pero nasa labas. Paano siya, kasi supposedly the deponent has direct knowledge, di ba?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
O why him? Na hindi naman siya nakakulong.
Mr. Chair, based on the
Hearsay.
testimony of the deponent, Mr. Chair,
Testimony of whom?
of the deponent, Mr. Chair, which was
Ang
subjected
tanong ko nga
to...
sa iyo, kasi ikaw yung nag-apply, di ba, ng search warrant?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Ikaw nag-handle.
Yes,
Now,
Mr.
anong testimony niya? Nakita niya na may baril doon sa loob?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Paano niya nakita?
He was, according to him, Mr. Chair, he was able to go inside when he was, if I'm not mistaken, invited, Mr. Chair.
Have you checked the warden that indeed your deponent has visited that jail? Sandali po, yes or no lang. Ikaw, Major Larga,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
huwag ka magsinungaling. Yes or no? Have you checked the warden that indeed your deponent has visited the jail to confirm that indeed there's a gun?
Personally, no, Mr. Chair.
Sorry?
Me personally, I did not, Mr. Chair.
Oh, you did not.
Yes, Mr.
But
Chair.
you applied for a search warrant without checking that indeed yung testimony ng deponent mo na nakapasok siya doon.
I believe, Mr. Chair, I don't have any recourse as to validate.
Ayun
Where
yung
in
problema
fact,
mo.
he has
Then
been
why?
inside the jail.
Then why? You apply for search warrant.
Actually, Mr. Chair, that
And
illegal trade inside the...
You mentioned about the testimony of your deponent, di ba? Tama?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Now, tinatanong kita, paano mo na-verify na indeed that testimony is true and correct?
Mr. Chair, I was made to believe that his
You were made to
testimony-
believe.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
But you have to check. Now, question. Sabi mo kanina, nakita niya, nakapasok siya doon nung nagbisita siya. Tama?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Now, doon sa ano po, kay Warden. And then the PDL, former PDL that was mentioned by Major Larga, nakabisita po ba siya doon kay Mayor Espinosa?
Mr. Chair,
Major Larga, pakiulit nga po yung pangalan ng former PDL.
Mr. Paul Olendan, Mr. Chair.
Do you know Paul Olendarin?
Hindi po, Your Honor.
Hindi mo kilala?
Hindi po kilala, Your Honor.
Oh, Major Larga, hindi niya kilala. Former inmate saan yun? Siya. Hindi, ikaw. Major, dapat alam mo yung background ng deponent mo, di ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Saan siya dati nakakulong?
I believe in Aboyog Penal Colony, Mr. Chair.
The same? No.
No, no, I think...
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We do not have any PDL by the name of Ulindan. And records, upon verification of our records, he never visited the Baybay Sub-Provincial Jail Facility.
Oh, Major Laraga, hindi siya former detainee o inmate ng provincial jail. Sabi mo nga sa Aboyog. Tapos, hindi rin nag-visit doon. Medyo Laraga, huwag kang magsinungaling.
Mr. Chair, I cannot answer for and in behalf of my deponent and that as to regard of the version
Sandali po. Hindi ko po sinasabi sa iyo that you have to answer. Ikaw po nagsabi na sinabi ng deponent mo na bumisita sa doon.
That is correct, Mr.
And
Chair.
now, the jail warden confirms na walang nangyaring visit.
I cannot attest to the
Yun nga,
statement of the jail.
Yun nga,
Mr. Chair.
sabi ko sa iyo kanina, tinanong nga kita, have you checked?
Personally, not, Mr. Chair.
Personally?
Me personally.
Bakit sino pa ba dapat mag-check?
I believe we have a surveillance personnel who took
Ikaw ba
the
naman,
validation,
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Laraga? Ikaw yung nag-apply, principal nag-apply ng mga search warrant, tapos sabihin mo na, di ba sinabi mo kanina nagbisita siya?
Based on his testimony, Mr. Chair.
Oh, kaya nga sinasabi ko sa iyo, based on his testimony. Now, kino-confirm ngayon na walang nangyaring visit yung deponent mo. O, sino ngayon may problema?
Mr. Chair, we have been filed. I was also a respondent or accused of the
Sandali po,
criminal case
I am
for...
not asking you about your case. Well, in fact, demotion nga lang eh, di ba? You were just demoted.
the criminal case for malicious application of search
And now you're
warrant.
invoking sub judice in
No,
this
no, no,
committee?
Mr. Chair. That was also the... there was a case filed against me, Mr. Chair, and then
So,
the search warrant... actually, Mr. Chair, it was the honorable judge, through searching questions and answers, who made the probable cause and issued the same, which until now, Mr. Chair, was, as ruled by the Supreme Court, was valid and the application was proper. I believe, Mr. Chair. I submit to the Supreme Court's ruling, Mr. Chair. If
valid.
that's my humble submission, Mr. Chair.
Na valid yung application ng search warrant?
Yes, Mr. Chair. It was in the ruling of the Supreme Court, Mr. Chair. I humbly submit.